So, okay, we covered favorite figures, but what about playsets or vehicles? And you can pick one of each. How about this?
Well, okay.
Playset or vehicle that you had.
Okay, all right. So I don't know that I ever had the playsets. I know I wanted them. I think that was like where my parents drew the line. They're like, no, you have any toy you want that's within this price range. The closest thing I had to the vehicles, I had a smattering of those. I had the Sewer Cycle. Cheapskate, Sewer Cycle. I was wanted. There's the foot.
The claw thing,
which was awesome.
The knuckle dragger.
Yes,
I think is what it was called.
I love the fact that it was like it was the foot and it was a hand. That was always I was kind of like. But I always wanted the Technodrome. Never had the Technodrome. Impossible to find and then B, afford, especially as a little kid. I mean, it was a lot for back then.
It was the Knucklehead.
Okay, it was. I knew Knuckle was in there somewhere, but yeah, no, that was a fun toy. I always wanted the Sewer Lair, but I don't want to say which version yet because that's to come. But yeah,
You've never had the original Sewer Lair though. You
never had the original Sewer Lair.
Oh,
I didn't have it till I was an adult.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I love that thing. That was my go-to toy for any line of figures that I was playing with.
I definitely was the kid who made boxes and Kleenex boxes and paper towel tubes and stuff like that. Like
awesome.
that was always the play sets outside of the Toy Biz Batcave.
Okay, yeah, I had that.
Literally chunk of plastic that you could rotate. It was good times.
I wonder if that had anything to do with like your progression towards doing your creating of the figures too, your customizing of the diorama stuff that you make out of necessity.
And I mean it wasn't even like growing up it was never the thing of like, oh darn, I don't have that. It was okay, I don't have a Sewer Lair, I'm gonna make a Sewer Lair. I have a box, a thing of masking tape, and some Cheerios. Let's do this. It was never that thing of like having to overcome something. Like it was just like, okay, I want to play with these guys in the sewer, and my parents will kill me if I actually go down into the sewer. Actually, there should have been no quotes around that because I would have actually tried to go down into the
100%.
So that is the ones that were your favorite. What about you, Dan? What were those things you dug?
Yeah, the Sewer Lair is up there just because of the amount of playability it had for everything. It was just a street with a sewer and the swinging power lines. I loved using those. But then in addition to that, I had the Foot Cruiser. Is that the purple car?
Yeah.
Oh,
that thing again, very playability wise on any line that I'm using it. It's just a purple Cadillac. Like it's just a purple
convertible.
Yeah, convertible. That's the word I'm thinking of. So yeah, both of those just made playing so much easier and not having to go through the route of having to tape together boxes and Kleenex boxes and tissue tubes. That was my childhood right there.
Oh, yeah. I will say I miss the days when the Foot Cruisers, you could get them at garage sales for like $5. I repainted and sold so many of those as Neutrino.
Oh, Neutrino, yeah.
And
it's a natural.
To this day, I'm like, I want to make one of those again, but I don't want to spend like $150 on a shell. I cannot find one of those for a decent price. So if anybody in the chat has a Foot Cruiser out there that they want to ditch, holla.
I had the Chuck Norris car. Do you know what I'm talking from the toy line? That to me made a good Foot Cruiser kind of thing in that it had a button on there that like pushed out some sort of like thing that flared out and knocked people down. So I was like, okay, this is that now.
I'm actually pulling up a sweet. My God, that thing is like the Magnum PI ninja car.
Oh, it's great.
Look at that sucker.
Yeah. Ooh. It was fun. Yeah. The thing on the thing on the sides, those swung out, and it would like if you had people characters standing up, it would knock them right down.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's amazing.
But that said, I still would have much rather had the actual Foot Cruiser that I never got to have.
I gotta say, favorite vehicle goes to the Party Wagon. Wagon wins out overall, but the Cheapskate is a close damn second.
I don't understand your love for the Cheapskate. We talked about this last night too. But
I think it was it was one that we had, but it was also the thing of I love skateboarding. So like turtles on skateboards. Like, okay, you got me. You got chocolate in my peanut butter. You got peanut butter in my chocolate. Let's effing go. But like another one was the sewer tubes, the actual, like the tubes.
Inner tube.
Just the tubes. Yeah, okay.
Like again, super simple, but like
it's practical.
It was so fun. Like you could take them in the bath, you could take them to the lake, you could do whatever with them. They were cheap. They were like that was the thing with the sewer cycle and the Cheapskate and the foot ski and the tubes. They were relatively cost effective. So like I remember those being the ones that my folks were like, yeah. And then Christmas came around and Party Wagon.
Yeah.
Like nice. It was a base. It was a vehicle. It sometimes held up my brother's books. That the Party Wagon wins out overall for me, in my opinion.
Going back to the Cheapskate real quick. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the Cheapskate, it had yes, if it was just a skateboard, I'd be all over it. But it's not just a skateboard. It has the motor, the fan on the back. Yep. Right. That I didn't like.
And it has the kicking foot.
Okay, that's my biggest problem because the kicking foot doesn't work unless you lift up the front two wheels, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. You did have to pick it up a little bit in order for it to work.
Right? They don't flip up. You can't just roll around. Flip the foot. Let me see you flip.
Okay, so the thing is too with that is that it to me it would make more sense if there was an actual for the foot.
Yeah,
because the foot that has a it's like it was for the foot. Imagine like a foot soldier on there, and then having a thing that's a foot.
Agree with you.
That makes
they're not always fighting the foot.
By. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you very much, man. But yeah, you're exactly right, Geeky. The turtles aren't always fighting the foot. Mm-hmm. They're going to space. They're fighting the rock soldiers. They're fighting Bebop and Rocksteady. They're fighting everybody, and sometimes they're fighting the foot. That doesn't mean you need to name one of your vehicles after the foot.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I liked it being the Cheapskate, because it was always one of those things of like it always was weird to me as a kid because there was the foot ski, there was this, there was that, and then it was like, here's the Cheapskate. It literally has a foot on it, and the whole thing was it was meant to boot the foot, and I always thought that was
I get it, but okay, the turtles get the call. April lets them know, okay, we've got trouble in middle of New York. We need you guys to get here right away. They all jump on their Cheapskates. They arrive. Oh, it's not the Foot Clan. Bebop and Rocksteady are robbing a bank. All right, guys, pack up the Cheapskate. We got to put it back. We definitely can't hit them with that. Do we have anything that has Bebop's face on it?
You can't do that. That's where you just stab them because you have swords and knives. It's that thing of like Secret of the Ooze where people were like, don't they have weapons? It's like, yeah, no, they have weapons. They just couldn't use them because they were trying real hard to be like, it's cool, kids, not stabbing people.
What they have more of is sarcasm.
Yeah. They're going to be wise asses. And their weapon is their wit.
By the way, are we counting Needlenose? Are we counting Killer Bee?
Those I count as the original Mega Mutants, those were, I always kind of attributed like Battle Cat or Panther. Like, right. I don't consider them necessarily vehicles. They are modes of transportation, I suppose. So we've talked about this before, and this isn't to like throw a bunch of pressure on you to get your Grail or get a bunch of the people in the chat to go after your Grail. But what is that one item, turtle related, that is your white whale holy grail that you just really still to this day are after? Also, really quick shout out, the pizza thrower is the one that I didn't have as a kid, but love and is one of my favorite vehicles.
Yeah.
That was one as an adult that I love.
That's like the tank where it has the right. Is that
the pizza feed, and then it launches them, and it says like, "Do not aim at humans or animals."
And of course you do. I mean, I think that was like I traumatized my brother with that when I was growing up. It was just like I'd follow him around the house just using this pizza thrower.
They did use the turtle blimp a lot in the cartoon. It is one way to beat New York City traffic. That is another one that was like far out of my folks' price range and everything, but damn, was it a cool toy. At least I think. I never owned it.
Okay, so my Grail, I think it's probably the same Grail as a lot of people. So of figures that were made, there's like prototype stuff that I have as kind of my Grail too, but it's probably Scratch. It was one of the mutants that I never could get. I got Hotspot. I don't know how I got Hotspot, but I got Hotspot, and but I could never find Scratch. And I'm like, all right, Super 7, don't let me down.
I have a funny story about Scratch because I've actually owned one Scratch ever, and literally this figure sat on the shelves in, I believe it was Hardware Hanks in Ely, Minnesota, since I was a little kid. Just sat up high on a peg, like never thought twice about it as a little kid. It was literally on the shelves till like, I want to say like 5-6 years ago, and I walked in and I brought it up front and I was like, this is a really rare figure, right? And they're like, it's $6, man. And I'm like, here, I turned around, I sold it. It actually helped out a lot at the time.
Sure.
But like, there's part of me that's like, I should have held on to that. But at the same time, I've never been a completionist.
Right.
And one of my good buddies, Ringer, got in Hotspot, Sandstorm, the giraffe. Why can't I remember his name?
Halfcourt.
Yeah. And a bunch of those end of the line figures. And he's like, And I was just like, no. A, don't have the money for them right now. But B, like, I don't have a place for them in my collection because I have no attachment to them.
Sure.
And they're really friggin' neat. But, you know, it's one of those weird things.
Were Sandstorm and were those hard to find characters? I don't know. I mean, like,
they were towards the end of the line, so they were, well, not technically harder to find. They're still some of the higher dollar figures, just because there weren't as many of them out there, because they didn't really have second and third and fourth and fifth releases, you know.
Sure.
Like, they were just kind of like, done. Here's your camel with a giant.
And at that point, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even though they're in the stores, then there's probably just as many first run Halfcourts as there are, you know, whatever, Ray Fillets. But people just weren't buying the figures at the time.
Yeah, it was end of the line. You know, it's like the vintage Star Wars stuff. Like, the harder ones to find are the ones towards the end where not a lot of people were into them or grabbing them, you know?
Was this like, wasn't there like an in-between time where they were releasing stuff that wasn't as close to Mutiny? It was like more...
You were getting all the variants of the Turtles. You were getting the military Turtles. You were getting Star Trek Turtles, Universal Monster Turtles. You weren't really getting the core four. Like, that was the thing, is I remember when the Toon Turtles came out, and like, I lost my damn mind because I was like, they're based on the cartoon?
Yeah, same feeling, absolutely. And that's a good point. They didn't really re-release the. If you wanted a bear Raphael that looked like Raphael and didn't have a Boy Scout uniform on, and you just wanted a regular looking Raphael, it was difficult to get because they weren't releasing those. I never thought about that, but that's a good point.
And thankfully, towards like the very end of the line, they started releasing like the KB exclusive ones on the purple cards and stuff like that, where all of a sudden you could get those 4 turtles again on like early anniversaries and stuff like that.
That's smart.
With a coin that came with it, right?
Yep. Yeah. But it was the thing of like, to that point, if you wanted a Mikey or a Donnie or a Raph or Leo, it'd be like, well, I guess I'm going to get Pro Wrestling Mikey, or I'm going to get Desert Storm Leonardo. It was that thing of just like... It was mind-blowing to think about that, because I was very thankful that I had my original 4, because I remember my friends being like, oh, I like Turtles. I have this one and this one and this one and this one and this one. And like, outside of like birthdays and stuff, I didn't really get the figures or whatnot. Like, every once in a blue moon, it was like something very special. But it was that thing of like, so many of my buddies had the like crazy, weird mishmash Turtles, where it's like, okay, so you have like Raph as Scotty, you have Baseball Raphael, you have Spy Donnie, and, you know, Leonardo as a mariachi, and it's like, but no Mikey. It's like, okay, well, you have 4 turtles, cool. Like, go crazy.
Good enough, right?
Oh, Dude Retro, going after it, man.
Yeah, that was the one I mentioned to you too. And that's another one of mine.
I've been that close a couple times when I found one, like, but I always find them on card, and it's like, I don't want to spend $250 on a figure that I'm going to put on a shelf and go, look at it, you know.
But I wonder if Super 7 will have access to that, if they could do, because it's off the figures. I realize it's Playmates figures, but it's also this is and that's the import kind of stuff.
Oh, the like, I remember only like 1 or 2 of them, and like the wacky action ones being the spitters, but
the beach ones were all spitters too.
I think it was like Raph or Leo, and it had the hole in the teeth, and it would go and it'd spit, like you could press a button or something.
Oh, okay, maybe.
I don't remember what it was. Also, people talking and giving some love to the Mini Mutants. I agree wholeheartedly. That was a fantastic line. I have a bunch of the 2012s, and I actually have the core 4 turtles with the turtle van and the news channel bike. The new Hot Wheels party wagon that came out with the openable door, the Mini Mutants fit on it.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I've been looking for a turtle van. I don't think I have one yet. The Hot Wheels version. Do you collect like new stuff, Geeky?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess you do NECA, you do Super 7, but like even like the little like Hot Wheels stuff, you'll collect that stuff?
If I run into it, you know, I'm not necessarily seeking it out, but if I see it in the store,
can't pass it
up. If I saw this turtle van that Dave's holding up here, 100% I would be buying it.
Yeah, look at that. This is the standard Hot Wheels, and this is a Micro Mutant on there.
That's crazy.
That's fun. See, this is the thing. When I was younger, I couldn't get those because I would lose them immediately. But I have been getting the Mega Contrux, you know, so any of those that are coming out, I'm picking those up too. Because now Well, now I know I'm not going to lose them the way that I would. It would just go into. It would get sucked up into a vacuum immediately.
Oh damn! Varian got the Turtle Mobile from a yard sale. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Repainting the NECA Donatello, the Dark Turtle. That's going to be super cool.
I was going to say to you too, because you were bringing up the wrestler Mikey. Did you ever custom that into the intergalactic wrestling?
No, the funny thing was, I didn't start customizing till I was probably 8, 9 years old, something like that. And by that point, like, I had my turtles, but I had a limited amount of them, you know? Like, I couldn't go and, like, grab them. Like, garage sales, they weren't really out there yet, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I had Pro Wrestling Mikey, but he just was Pro Wrestling Mikey. I'd be curious if/when Super 7 releases some of the later in the line figures, how the sales compare to some current waves. I think they're going to intersperse them, like they're doing with the Ray Fillet and Sewer Samurai Leo and stuff. I think we're going to get a lot of those kind of mishmash waves. Did either of you have the pizza bowling?
I don't know. Oh, where was the turtles as pins, right?
Yeah.
I think I had cousins who had it and we used to play it at their house. I didn't.
Oh, boom! Poppin' pins bowling in box.
Nice.
Look at you.
I got that in the last 6 months. I paid $10 at a thrift store for it.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, wow. I couldn't pass it up just based on, I didn't care what was inside. I just liked the box art of it.
Oh, the box art's where it's at.
And now, Geeky, I had a question. Dave and I were arguing over this. It was a couple weeks ago. NECA they officially announced the movie 2 set of Oroku Saki and what's
Hamato Yoshi?
Yeah, Hamato Yoshi. Mm-hmm. Dave is very concerned that he's not going to be able to find these in Walmart because they're another Walmart exclusive.
Well, there's also no Walmarts up here.
Okay, that's fair. I, on the other hand, think that these sets are going to sit and they're not going to fly off the shelves the same way that the movie Turtles did, that the Core 4 Turtles did, and that the Super Shredder, even with the Super Shredder, I don't think those flew as fast as the Turtles did. I don't think there's a ton of people out there who just looking at the package are going to know what this is.
Sure. I mean, they may not. I think it would depend on what the saturation rate is of it being in the stores and location wise too, towards who knows the characters. That is a worry of mine with Walmart, that I wouldn't be able to get it either, but I could also see it sitting on the shelf. For the sake of like my own love for it, I'm like, I hope that's not the case, even though I know that if it stays on the shelf, then I'll be able to pick it up.
Sure. But at the same time, I'd rather have to pay $80 on eBay if I know that they're going to sell out, and if they sell out, that means they're probably going to make another set.
The big hardcore fans want the human components.
Yes,
but I don't know that that's everybody who's just seeing them. I think some people may not recognize it at first glance, like you said. It's not as It's not.
I agree with you. You put any mutants in this from the movie in stores, they're going to sell out immediately. Whether it's Turtles, whether it's Toka and Razor, no matter what it is, they're going to sell out immediately. Even the Splinter set was selling out pretty quickly.
I mean, even a transforming head may have sold it. You know, not to say this isn't going to fly off the shelves anyways. It may, but I'm saying
agreed. I just think 2 random dudes in a box that has the Ninja Turtle logo in the bottom corner more likely to sit than it is to fly.
I have a feeling though, especially with Shang-Chi coming out, some people are going to look at it and go, "Karate guys," and grab it anyways. You know, I mean, it's going to be a pricey box, but at the same point, if people are out looking for that genre of figure, they're looking for martial artists, a really easy get there.
Feel free to join the conversation in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure to sub up, give the video a like, and share with anyone you know who appreciates these types of videos. Also, make sure to check out the description for additional links that lead to some similar expanded content we think you'll also probably enjoy quite a bit. You realize you could have gone anywhere and you chose to nerd out with us, and we appreciate that. So, as always, I am Mr. Geeky, and until next week, Turtle Speaky, keep it geeky, folks.